Make sure we're all live over here. Everyone can hear me. Looks like it's just about there. All right, we are live. So today I'm excited to try out these new Clench resistance band handles. So these are useful, these you use loop bands with. So I'm just got these this week. I haven't had a chance to work out with them yet. So I'm really excited to try them. The way that they work is you take a loop band and you can hook it into these big hooks. So instead of the band binding into your hand, it's actually really comfortable to go through various exercises. This is too light of a band for this exercise, but it's easy to see what I'm doing. So with this one, you can either hook it on the big loop, or if it's a small enough band, you can put it right through the middle and have a nice even pull. So for something like a lateral raise where I don't feel any twist in my wrist doing this. So it feels really good. So we're gonna give these a try today. So what I'm gonna start with is a chest press. Now we'll try out with 2 bands and see how this feels standing. We'll just do 1 band at a time. So I'm gonna anchor this right about shoulder height with each band. I'm stoked to try this though, or it's very exciting to try these. This makes it so much easier to carry equipment around with, because it's just a couple bands and a couple lightweight handles. They're lightweight, but they feel really sturdy. See if I can get this set up with 2. A little bit inconvenient to set up 2 at a time, but other than that, it's just gonna take some practice getting that all in position. Yeah, so I need to just twist that around. There we go. So, doing chest press, I'm gonna stand 1 foot out in front of the other, hands nice and wide. Do you know what? I'm gonna have to do this 1 at a time, I think, because I think I need a little bit more support. They're pulling me over. Nah, yeah, I can do this. Though I'll probably need to do 1 at a time for the 40 pound, we'll see. These right now are a 30 pound band. I think I need to step a little bit further away. There we go. That feels so good on my hands though. It doesn't feel like this is gonna slip out at all. It feels very secure. I heard some people had trouble with these, so are falling out of the hooks, but I couldn't see that happening without really not doing the exercise correctly. So now we're gonna do rows, just warming up. I'm gonna do this with a 30 pound band for now, just to get a bit of a warm up exercise. I like the row variant standing so much better because I don't have to worry about my low back at all. That feels very good though. So we'll try out with 2, see how this goes. I might have to switch up how I do these because the heavier band might pull me over, because it'd be an 80 pound pull pulling me off balance. So this is a 30-pound band. Now we're shifting to a 40-pound band. Did a warm-up set, feels pretty good. Shoulders feel good. Now I'm gonna try for a heavier band, see how it feels with that. Now, the great thing about loop bands is I don't need a special anchor. All I'm doing is just looping the band around and then through. So it's around to make a little loop, then through that loop. And it pulls tight and secure. Just like that. So I'm trying to get these bands as close together as possible so I'm not pulling at a different angle. This is the one part where it's a little bit tricky to do, to get these hooks in the first time. They're not too bad, a little tricky though. I'm gonna twist in that one. That should be fine. It's not gonna cause, yeah, it's not gonna dig into my hand or anything. All right, so I'm pushing my chest out. Should feel that tension all the way back here. Let's see if this actually pulls me over. Yeah, so with this weight, instead of pushing the band forward, I'm pushing my body backwards. So I'm gonna just drop one of these to the side. Instead, I'm gonna support here with my hand against the post and do one side at a time. So I'm keeping that chest open, pushing out to the front. Let's see, there we go. It's like boxing training, punching out to the front. I have to make sure I don't twist my body towards this. So I don't want my chest to twist. I almost need like something behind me to stop me from being pulled over backwards. And same thing other side. So I'm just gonna hold here just to stop my body from pulling backwards. Stepping forward until I feel that tension pulling me back, pushing out towards the front. That is the limitations of the bands, is standing exercises are great, but eventually it will pull you over. This is gonna feel really good though, doing a row. Because now I got my body weight supported against this. The bands are nice and secure. Oh my gosh. That feels really good on my lats though. Wonder thinking about how I could do this a little differently to still get the chest. I'm wondering if there's enough slack in the band where I could do like this. And have my back against that post. It's not quite enough give. I was thinking sort of like this out here, but I think that's not gonna quite work for me. I could do the pull-up bar and push down like this, be sort of like an inverse row. Let's try that. Oh man, but then I have to set up each time for the row. That's not gonna fly. So we're experimenting with this today. These are a new piece of equipment. Sometimes you have to find what's gonna work well for it. Yeah, so if I go here, if I lean kind of forward into it, there we go. So I just have to really lean into this to get my body weight to stop it from pulling me back. I will say there's probably a limit to this. So I couldn't go much heavier than this without being pulled over. So I'd have to go for higher reps. And 14. That feels really good on my chest though. And the really great thing about this is if I'm doing this without a spotter, like I am, there's no one behind me spotting. If I ever get to the point where I can't push that back up, I can just step back, slack goes into the bands, and I'm out of it safely. So I really like that for working out here where I'm working out on my own. Dumbbells are a little safer than barbells, but bands, man, they're so nice for working out solo. So that was set number 2 of chest press. I really like that, leaning in to the chest press, pushing your chest out, opening up. So we're doing multiple sets. Got that twisted somehow. So we're doing multiple sets because the more sets we do of an exercise, the more that muscle grows. So I like to pair pushing and pulling in one day. So I'm doing a row and a chest press combination. So if you're like me, wanting to build muscle, stay healthy, be able to move effectively, hit that like button to let me know you want more content like this where we're working out together. I gotta get in the right position, hang on. There we go. I'm pulling back to my rib cage and then all the way back out to the front. I'm really focusing on driving my elbows back. Pinching my shoulder blades together. And 14. So that was our second set. I'm gonna jump ahead just for a second, show how easy it is to change between the weights on these. If I was going into a bicep curl from this, as long as my bands are not tangled up, Somehow I managed to get that, there we go. So I could just hook one. It's actually pretty quick. I don't have to think about unracking weights, re-racking weights. Literally just same handles, it's working pretty well. It's a little bit weird to set up to get used to that. And not have, so I just did that backwards, but pretty fast. I'll get more used to this as I go. Let's see, it's like that. So it goes through the front. That way the band's out of the way of my hand. All right, from here, I could go straight into bicep curls or overhead. Yeah. Uh-oh. Hold on, I lost my mic cover. Sorry if that got a little loud there. That just doesn't want to stay on. All right, so going for a third set of chest press. Let's go in here, switch these hands. Yeah, I've been looking for handles for these loop bands for a little while. Never found one that I quite liked. I looked into these, read some reviews, and watched the guy from the company actually demoing these, and just was really impressed by how they worked. So I've not been disappointed with these. We'll have to see on more long term how they go. But it's nice to be able to use these bands without it digging into my hand at all. So that was always a difficulty with these bands, is they would bind and I'd get like almost a rug burn on my palms. And these bands are much heavier than my tube bands can go. Oh, so these are 40-pound pull bands, which my tube bands stop somewhere around 20 pounds, so I'd have to layer up a ton of extra bands. These, it's just one band and you're good to go. These are the Rogue Monster bands, and I really like them. They're very durable. I've had them for probably about a year now, and they show no signs of wear and tear. I've used them for a variety of exercises. You can use them for assisted pull-ups as well as doing, where they're assisting the resistance as well as adding to it. So you can use them either way. For me, I'm using them for the first time doing rows and chest press. I really like the level of resistance these provide. It also feels really consistent, where I'm getting a good pull even at this edge of the movement. It doesn't feel like it just vanishes in this lengthened position, which some bands, I feel like the tension curve is really high back here and then almost disappears in that lengthened position. And that's where you want to have tension still in that fully lengthened position to build muscle. So this is not a sponsored thing. I'm just trying to give my honest thoughts about the products I'm using. They don't pay me to say anything. This isn't sponsored. This is just purely things I bought with my own money. And I want to share with you guys so that you can find good products to work out on your own and make resistance training and fitness part of your lives. So, I don't have a link to these down below yet, but I will try and get that in sometime in the near future. If you want to get a set of these Clench handles or the Rogue Monster bands. So going back to a chest press, pushing out towards the front. I'm kind of leaning forward a little bit. I'm gonna switch my legs to keep the bands from pulling me over backwards and pushing out towards the front. I'm starting far enough away where I feel tension all the way back here, all the way through that movement. And last one, 14. Oh man. I'm gonna grab a quick sip of water. So if you're liking this workout, if you want to start working out with resistance bands and want some someone to do that with, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you have any questions or ideas, come in, let's talk about it. Sometimes, even though I've done this, I've worked out and worked with clients for 10 years, sometimes I learn new things from people where they try a way of doing an exercise and think about it in a whole new way. And I really like hearing about what people are doing, learning, and continuing to, because even having done this for a while, I'm still learning new things every day. Maybe not every day, but I'm still learning new things. And so I like to learn new things. Sometimes it's changing up an exercise just a little bit to get it to be more effective. I find one foot out in front of the other on this exercise really helps to counterbalance that resistance band. So I'm pulling to my rib cage, driving my elbows back. $13, and last one. And 14. All right, I think that was set number 3. It was either 3 or 4. I think I've got about one more set in me today though. I wanna see how this feels after. I know Monday I worked calf, and even though it's 2 days later, my calves are cooked because it was my first time doing focused calves for a little while. And I just pushed way too far where I'm super sore. And that's called delayed onset muscle soreness, where it takes a day for it to show up. So sometimes with a new exercise, it can push the muscle in a new way and be a little bit more taxing. So I don't want to go too far on this. I'm going to see how I feel, and that way I can keep on going on Friday and maintain my 3-a-week schedule. So the benefit of that is I'm getting more workouts in per week, and that's what I recommend, is trying to get more in per week rather than more in per one session. So stepping forward until I feel that tension pulling me back, trying to lean into it so the band's not gonna pull me over. And I gotta adjust just a little bit. that's the one thing about the heavy bands is they will pull you over. So I'm leaning just a little bit forward, counterbalance that. I'm going for 14. 12, 13, and 14. So, do all my workouts live on stream, because what I'm telling you to do is the same thing I'm doing myself. So trying to build muscle and build healthy, strong muscles and maintain that muscle mass and build it up. I like to think of it as like a bank account. It's like you're investing for later in life when it's hard to build muscle. So if you do it younger, build up that muscle, it's so much easier to maintain that muscle and keep your body healthy and strong. So the younger you are, the easier that is. As we age, we tend to lose muscle. So part of what we're doing is maintaining that muscle mass by putting it under resistance, making it work. So I'm trying to hit the muscles in my upper body today. Now, an advantage of resistance bands over other type of resistance is you can actually do power exercises, which are going for more speed. And a lot of power exercises would be more dangerous to do with conventional weights. So, a power exercise, I'll show you with a lighter band, would be, say you're trying to build power in your bicep. So going slowly is just force. But if I was trying to build power, I would try and go snap this up. So I'd work on how fast that muscle can contract. And that's that power, generating force quickly. And that's actually one of the main things we lose. We lose that faster than every other type of strength. So there's muscle mass, which we lose a little bit every year. Muscle strength, which is just being able to lift, it's not how fast you go, but how much you can lift total. We lose that moderately fast after 30. And then muscle power, which is able to lift something heavy quickly. And we lose that very rapidly after 30. So, bands, you can actually do power training as well. And where if I was lifting a dumbbell, trying to lift that quickly, I might, as I lose control, hit myself in the chin, might fly on my hand, something like that. It's a little bit more likely that those things would happen. However, with the band, it's a little easier to set this up where I can work on that speed and power if I would like to, with the same style exercises. So for a bicep curl, we're gonna do a bicep curl and an overhead press. We'll see how this feels with this. I think this is a 19-pound band. I have to check with my cheat sheet here because it's not printed on the bands. Okay, 18 pounds. Can never remember the weight of each of these bands. That's the one thing with the weight. The dumbbells, it's printed on the dumbbell. So I'm gonna do a bicep curl. I'm gonna stand on one end of the band, and then from here, we'll see how this feels on the bicep. So I'm going to curl up to the front and then back out forward. So I'm going up and then back out. I'm not going down with these where I lose slack in the band. You can see the band's not under tension anymore. So I'm gonna lean back just a little bit and go forward with the band to keep tension the whole time. That might be a little bit too light of a band for this exercise for me. Let's try overhead press. Now, one thing I don't want to do is I want to make sure I'm not doubling the length of the band. So I'm going to give this a try with these. See how this feels. It might be a little bit, no, it's okay. So that's something I'd be worried about if you're especially tall. You might have to anchor these to like a post or something so that you can do an overhead press. I'm just at the limit of this. So I'm pushing up to the front and then back down. So I need to switch my grip on this a little bit, I think, because I'm having a little twist in the band. Let's see, how would I do that? Because I'm starting out sort of like this and having to twist up, and so the band's pulling me a little bit like this. So if I was to start out kind of forward, there we go. So if I kind of have to pull in like this first, and then there we go. So if I start with my thumbs pointed forward, it'll twist. I have to start with my thumbs pointed in and bring them up. So it's almost like a clean up. So the red band for curls feels a little light. Just a little bit. I might be able to do, let's see, the blue band though is 30 pounds. I don't think I'm quite able to do the blue band. Let's see how that feels. So the in-between weights, a little bit challenging on this because it goes from 18 pounds to 30 pounds. So it almost, it adds 12 pounds to that. Nope. I can do a couple of these maybe, but I'm not gonna be able to do above 10 reps. So that's heavy. I could do probably 4 or 5 of those maybe. So we'll stick with the red ones for now. Something I so like about these bands though is as soon as I'm done and the slack goes out of the band, I don't have to be carrying this heavy weight around. It's just a light handle and a light band. All the resistance comes from tension. Now the thing you want to watch out for is that the band never goes slack through part of the exercise. This is something I see people do, is they let the band be slack. So it's when they're down here, the band is slack, and so it doesn't start pulling until they get halfway through the exercise. So it's really only up here. So you want to make sure the band is anchored low enough where you see that's taut even down here. It's like a guitar string. You want it to be under tension even at the bottom of the movement. That's the number one thing I see people mess up on resistance bands, is they do not have tension all the way through that movement. So you want to pull the band taut enough where it's tensioned at the bottom. Now, a cool thing you can do with these, let's see if I can get this right, is you can hook it along the back to get more tension through the band. So if you're a little bit, need more of that tension, that actually feels really good. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So because this is a little bit lighter, if I get more tension into the band, it'll make that a little harder to do that bicep curl. Yeah, that feels really good. So I'm just cinching up, and then with the double hooks, I can actually hook and take a little of the slack out of the resistance band. Yeah, that feels real good. Because the more tense these are, the more resistance they provide. Eight, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. That feels fantastic. Let me just show what I'm doing with this. So I've got the band sort of double looped in there. You can see where you got the first loop here, and then you loop it through the second part. And that's what gets you a bit more tension through the band. And then for the overhead press, I just pull out that loop for the second hook. And pulling up to the front. Twelve, 13, and 14. Wow, that gets intense at the end there. These do pull a little bit forward, so I have to make sure I don't let my hands internally rotate. I will say I probably prefer the dumbbells to that a little bit, but for just ease of setup, it's nice to just have one piece of equipment that I can take anywhere and switch the weights really quickly. There's pros and cons to both, I think. Like this one, it is a little bit, it takes a little bit of practice to get these on the hooks right. But this is still the first day. I'll get better at doing that. Can't quite do it one-handed. There we go. So this is set number 3, a bicep curl. Uh-oh. Part of exercise is how easy is it to set up each exercise. So that's one, I think, of the big complaints with bands, is they can be a little bit complicated to set up. I'm gonna take just a second, because I can still feel my biceps burning. All right. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I like that these pull back a little bit at an angle. So I feel like it's pulling a bit more directly on my arm. Dumbbells always pull down, so I have to be a little more forward. With these, I can be a little further back where I'm actually extending at my shoulder, and I'm still getting a good force curve and force direction, pulling kind of at an angle in against my bicep. So I really like that with these bands. I think that in that way, I like them better than dumbbells. It takes a little bit more to get them set up and on the hooks, but once you get them, it feels really good. Just have to, there we go. Had to think about that. So the more tired I get, the more awkward that is on the hooks. Okay. Oh man. I really feel that so intensely on my shoulders, actually. I feel like my shoulders are about an inch or two wider right now because of all the blood flow in them. Okay, going up. $11, 12, 13, 14. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That really cooks the deltoid right here. Feel like I get all the way down, feeling that right in here. I feel some in my tricep, but not nearly as much as that deltoid. That deltoid that runs right here on the top of the shoulder. So it's probably, my triceps are stronger than my deltoid proportionally. So this muscle back here, there's actually 3 pieces of that tricep, and they're able to handle that load much better. This muscle's fatiguing first. So on any exercise you pick, sometimes you're only as strong as your weakest link. So for me, my weakest link is that deltoid shoulder muscle. So as I grow that and get stronger, not only will my shoulders get bigger, so my chest will look broader, but also I'll be able to handle more overhead weight. So anytime we're working out, we're not only trying to look better, but we're trying to increase capacity. So I think looking better is great. I certainly have that goal too. I want to look better without a shirt. Never quite liked how I looked. And I'm hoping, eventually, I'm hoping that changes. Some of that though is just my mental state. So, but the other thing we're trying to do is increase capacity. I think that's the thing that really is objective, that will change over time. And it's measurable, as opposed to with the subjective, how I look might not change, but the objective, can I do more? Okay. Let's try out something a little different. So let's try a tricep exercise specifically, because I want to make sure that I get something to challenge that tricep muscle. So I'm going to do a skull crusher. So let's see how this feels. Try with one hand first before I go and set up both hands. So starting here, elbow in, hand by the ear, going out towards the front. So I'm just straightening that elbow. I'm doing this with a 30-pound band. Ten, 11, 12. All right, that's as far as I go with that. I like that though. I think this feels a lot better with these handles and doing the heavy band. So I'm trying to not let my elbow drop. I should feel this tensing up right back in here. 4, 5. So I'm letting my elbow bend and then straighten. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and one more, and 12. All right, we're gonna do one more set of those each side. I think that'll pretty much cook my triceps today. I'm gonna take a second and just take these off while I'm letting my triceps rest. Have you ever had it where after you're done working out, you have to put away your weights and it's just so hard to do because they're heavy and your muscles are all tired? And I love this about bands. The bands, when they're not under tension, they don't provide any resistance. So this is maybe a pound of rubber to try and put away. So much easier than trying to lift up weights and re-rack them and move them around, get them on a tiny pin. All right, starting last set of skull crushers. 2, 3, 4, 5. The hook does get a little bit in the way. 6, so careful to not hit yourself in the eye with it. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's cooked. All right, we got to 9 with the 30-pound band. That's a lot more taxing than I thought it was gonna be. Oh. Okay, I'm stepping forward till I feel tension in the band. 1, 2. I'm trying to not let my elbow drop at all. Because if my elbow drops, I take tension off the tricep. 5, 6, oh my gosh. 7. Yep, that's the extent of what that can do. Oh my gosh. That feels real good though in the tricep, or it feels like it's really hitting that to have it up. I like the band because it really keeps that tension high. I feel like with the dumbbells, it's always been a hard muscle for me to isolate. I feel like it's just so easy to compensate around. With the band, I feel like the constant pull of it really hits that tricep for me. So I'm gonna do more of these. I might drop the band down one because I'm hitting, I wanna try and get a little higher reps to get everything I can out of that tricep. And I feel like once I get up to that 8, I could maybe do another half rep, but sometimes dropping the band down lets you get a couple more reps in where you can fully fatigue out that muscle. So that was trying with these clench handles. Let me know if you want me to put a link. I'll try and get a link down below in the description pretty soon. So I host these live streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you'd like to be here live to talk, ask questions, tell me what you're doing, I hope to see you there. Take care.